most controversial pledges. What specifically was said?
Well, you know, the basic message is we're better together, and that's actually comes straight from the joint editorial. And it's a plea to defend the benefits of globalization while also admitting that there needs to be a closer look at those left behind by these kinds of trade deals, where people feeling that they've lost opportunities or lost jobs, and to address the inequalities. So that's what the editorial says. But at the same time, they have to sort of take a look at what President-elect Donald Trump effectively has promised, to throw out trade agreements, to roll back, for example, climate change agreements. And this is something that's very important to Germany. They have championed green energy. They have pushed other countries to sign on to agreements to reduce climate change. And now all that work may be undone if Donald Trump decides to pull out of agreements.
Angela Merkel is the consummate diplomat. We've seen that over the past, 12 years. If she were to stand for and win the chancellorship for a fourth term, how would she get on with Donald Trump?
I think that's a really good question. I mean, in so many ways, Angela Merkel is the anti-Trump. She's a strong woman leader who, doesn't really take any nonsense. She's known for being pragmatic, practical, and chooses her words very carefully. She's a very cautious leader. And now so many hopes are resting on her to defend this sort of globalization, that liberal democracy, those policies that have been put into place over the Obama administrations and her term as well. So there's a lot riding on her shoulders. She hasn't announced her candidacy yet for next year. She's already been in power for more than a decade, but there's a lot of pressure on her to to defend her legacy and also to keep the European Union united.
Fascinating. Somebody was suggesting to me last week, post the Trump victory, that it is indeed Angela Merkel who they believe is now the leader of the free world. Their comments, not mine. It will be interesting to see what happens going forward. Atika, thank you. While the current US president is having one of his final meetings then with a foreign leader, the US president-elect is about to have his first one. The Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is on his way from Tokyo to New York to meet Donald Trump. Mr. Abe says he wants to build trust with the new leader. Andrew Stevens is our Asia-Pacific editor, joining us this hour from Hong Kong. What are the expectations going into this trip, Andrew?
I think the expectations for anything concrete coming out of it are quite low, Becky. Indeed, Kellyanne Conway, the Trump campaign manager, said that this is going to be more of an informal meeting and the substantive discussions would come once the inauguration has been complete. But it is still very important for the optics and for the two men to meet each other and for Japan really to press its case. You've got to remember, Becky, that the US-Japanese alliance really is responsible for Japan's peaceful and powerful economic rise over the last 70 years. It is critical for Japan. And Shinzo Abe, who had a 20-minute conversation with Donald Trump over the telephone just after the election, is